May, Freddie Mac, he writes for so many publications, it advises for so many folks. He has a very long bio, but we'll only go over the short one. It's Porter Stansberry founded Stansberry & Associates Investment Research, a private publishing company based in Baltimore, Maryland in '99. His monthly newsletter, Stansberry's Investment Advisory, deals with safe value investments poised to give subscribers years of exceptional returns. Porter oversees a staff of investment analysts whose expertise ranges from value investing to insider trading and short selling. Together, Porter and his research team do exhaustive amounts of real-world independent research. They visited more than 200 companies in order to find the best low-risk investments in the world. Prior to launching Stansberry & Associates Research, Porter Stansberry was the first American editor of the Fleet Street Letter, the oldest English-language financial newsletter. So deep analyst with a great team, and we want to get his take on what's coming up in 2011 and beyond. And you've heard the website with the video that I've been promoting, because it's spot on. I agree with it, unfortunately, 100%. End of America, the number 3.com, End of America, the number 3.com. And we'll recap our guest also coming up in the next segment. But Porter, great to have you on with us today.
Alex, I'm happy to be here.
Well, I tell you, break down your previous predictions for us, and then let's get into what you're forecasting coming up this year, next year.
Well, beginning in about 2005, I became aware that there was an unsustainable amount of debt being created in our economy. And the short answer is, Alex, I just have followed that debt for the last 5 years. It started, of course, in the mortgage market mostly. There was other companies that were involved in that. For example, most people don't know that General Motors was making all of its money from mortgages, not from making cars. So I just have followed the debt through this process as it went through Fannie and Freddie, as it went through GM, and now as it's ended up in the hands of the U.S. Treasury.
And then you predicted not just the collapse, the crisis. Some people were predicting that, prominent minds out there. You specifically picked what you thought was going to go down, and boy, you were right A to Z.
Well, it really wasn't very difficult, unfortunately. Nobody likes to hear bad news. But, at one time, General Motors owed more than $400 billion, and they went more than 20 years without even being able to afford the interest. So there were a lot of things that were very, very clear to any competent financial analyst. Unfortunately, a lot of the incentives in the financial world don't provide any reason for any people to say the truth about things. Wall Street was making a lot of money by underwriting all of General Motors bonds, so they weren't going to be the people who spoke up. And places like Wall Street Journal, for example, General Motors is probably the largest newspaper advertiser in the country, so no one was going to say anything either because they're making all their money from advertising. We're one of the few people, really, that get paid only by the people who use our research. We don't have any conflicts of interest, so our only incentive is to provide actionable, useful, correct advice.
Absolutely, and folks can go watch your hour video breaking this down, and there's several sites they can go to, but endofamerica3.com. But also there's just the main Stansberry research site for folks that want to get the overview.
That's right. Yeah, we have a web presence. We're not really a website company. We just have a website where we serve content to our existing subscribers.
Absolutely, and boy, you've got a lot of amazing subscribers, invaluable information. We're going to go to break here. We got a long segment coming up, Porter, and I want to give you the floor to walk through the previous predictions, how it was in plain view, why a lot of people have a stake in not letting folks know that. We've now reached a point where the insiders are snatching and grabbing and stealing even faster because they know it's all coming down. The big prediction you've got that you say is the biggest you've ever made that will dwarf the predictions you made 4 years ago ahead of 2008. It's all coming up on the other side with our guest. Stay with us. This is Alex Jones with 5 good reasons you should consider buying a solar power generator. Number 1, new climate legislation could easily double or triple your electric bill. Number 2, our new energy czar wants to control how much power your electric company allows you to have. It's true. Total government control of electricity in the name of smart grid technology is coming. Number 3, in some areas of the country, the power grid is dangerously overloaded. And now new socialist legislation is only compounding the problem. Number 4, dangerous weather is always a threat to local grids. Every year, thousands of families lose their power from weather-related outages. Number 5, a solar power generator provides powerful backup insurance and peace of mind. Folks, I really believe in the solar power generators offered by Solutions from Science, one of my oldest sponsors. You can get more information at www.mysolarbackup.com. That's mysolarbackup.com. Remember, the government doesn't own the sun, so go to mysolarbackup.com or call 1-877-327-0365. Diamond Gusset is proud to announce the anthem of the Patriot Movement. They're offering a free CD, T-shirt, and bumper sticker with a qualifying purchase. Diamond Gusset offers great products at great prices while keeping Americans working.
I'm looking for a factory where a man can feed his family. Not worried about them moving it south, closing the doors and shutting her down tomorrow. I'm looking for America.
We're American and be proud. Go to gusset.com/America.
The land of the free and the home of the brave. Seems like I just woke up one day and it was gone, long gone. But I know in my heart it's still
Again, go to gusset.com/America today. Hi, this is Alex Jones. You've heard me talk about the delicious, easy to fix, and very storable foods from eFoodsDirect.com. I've told you for years that eFoods Direct has the best storable food on the planet. Now it's that time of year again, and their holiday special is here. They have 2 holiday price packs for you to put into your reserves for a secure future or to share with others. The first is a 6-month bulk supply in 10 cans. And the second is a 5-week supply of quick and easy to fix meals, including delicious bakery items shipped in heavy tote bags. Now, for a limited time, when you order 2 or more of these special holiday packs, you'll get free shipping on your entire order. Call now, 800-409-5633, or visit them at efoodsdirect.com/Alex. That's 800-409-5633, or efoodsdirect.com/Alex.
He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Well, the man we've got with us for the rest of the hour, we'll probably even do some overdrive into the 4th hour and take your phone calls, is Porter Stansberry, Stansberry Research. They are a subscription-based analyst organization. They've got newsletters, specialized info. We'll get him to talk about all of that. The website's endofamerica3.com, endofamerica3.com, or there's banners all over Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. And I remember over the years reading about his predictions. We should have already gotten Mr. Stansberry on the show. Barron's called his work a dire prophecy because going back to 2005, 2006, with precision, he said GM's going to go bankrupt, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, which they did, the government came in, and America's biggest mall owner, General Growth Properties. Well, now he's making his most dire prediction yet, and we're going to get him to talk about that main prediction and some of the other capillary connections to that, but also his ideas on how to protect yourself. And so Porter Stansberry with Stansberry and Associates, investment research, private publishing company based in Baltimore, Maryland. Formerly, of course, he was the first U.S. Head in the long history. Prior to launching Stansberry and Associates 11 years ago, Porter was the first American editor of the Fleet Street Letter. Boy, that's famous. The oldest English language financial newsletter. So you've got the floor here, sir. Let's walk through the real fundamentals, why the pundits won't tell people the truth, the state that our economy really is, the big prediction you've got coming up, and how folks protect themselves.
Well, Alex, unfortunately, it's very simple. It's just a matter of math. Over the last 30 years, the United States went from being the world's largest creditor to becoming the world's largest debtor to becoming the world's largest debtor in history. And the simple fact of the matter is far too many people, corporations, and our government itself can't afford those obligations. And rather than writing them off and restructuring and biting the bullet, all those obligations are now ending up on the books of the U.S. Treasury, and that is going to have catastrophic effects for the value of the U.S. dollar going forward.
Let's go through the technicals on that. Some stations just joined us. Recap some of the incredible predictions you've made, the fundamentals, and then walk through what we're facing.
Well, everyone is familiar by now with the mortgage crisis, and the problem there was a bunch of people who didn't really have any credit were extended large amounts of credit, and that had the effect of inflating the underlying collateral, and then the whole thing burst like a house of cards in 2008. Now the finger pointing has all begun. But the important thing for investors to realize is that all those debts have not gone away. The government has continued to underwrite them through its bailout of Fannie and Freddie and its bailout of the banks. And a lot of these obligations are now on the books of the Federal Reserve and the U.S. Treasury. The problem with us as a country is that our ability to print unlimited new amounts of money can solve a debt crisis like this, but the only way it solves it is by greatly devaluing the value of that currency. And my concern is, going forward, how people are going to be able to afford the resulting inflation and the terrible economic problems that could result from this coming inflationary problem.
Well, let's start. I mean, you've got the floor. You're the expert. You've predicted so much of what's unfolded. Break it down for us.
Okay, well, let's start with a simple fact. People are familiar with the terrible crisis probably that happened in Iceland and the crises that have erupted in Greece and in Spain and Italy, where these governments have simply gone bankrupt. Well, the reason why those governments went bankrupt is because they had to bail out their banks that had made a bunch of bad loans to people who really couldn't repay them. The exact same thing has happened in the United States, the exact same thing. In fact, the total debt to GDP ratio in Iceland was about 400% when the country collapsed. In the U.S., the total debt to GDP ratio is the same number, about 400%. We're just as bankrupt. The only difference is that we have the power to print the world's reserve currency, which is the U.S. dollar. And so as the Fed goes ahead and prints more and more money, and as the U.S. Treasury goes ahead and bails out more and more businesses, the result of this is going to be a dramatic decrease in the purchasing power of the U.S. dollar. The impact of this is already being felt. If you're in the commodity markets in any way, shape, or form, you've already seen prices skyrocket for everything from, corn to natural gas to oil to gold to silver, etc. Those big rises in price don't make any sense in an economy that's growing as slowly as ours. The problem is the money. The money is being devalued.
And the governments know this. I mean, you see them increasing the police state forces. You see them preparing for it. You see the Pentagon this year and last year, the Ministry of Defense 3 years ago in England, saying devaluation's coming and we got to get ready to suppress the population. But then they never blame the central banks that have basically allowed this to happen or this big welfare state that has fostered it. So when we see these pundits up on TV or these Treasury secretaries or Fed secretaries, correct me if I'm wrong, from your perspective, they know full well the laws of economics that you're laying out here. They're just bamboozling people. Why are they doing that?
Well, because it usually works. I like to tell people that scarcity is the number one law of economics. There could never be enough of anything to satisfy everyone. That's why if you give something away like medicine for free, demand is going to soar, shortages are going to erupt, there's going to be lines and huge problems. Everyone understands this about real life. Scarcity is an economic fact, cannot be repealed by the government. So, but politics is all about patronage, which means the way to get elected in politics is to promise everything to everyone. Well, that's diametrically the opposite of what reality is all about, right? Because the number one rule in economics is scarcity. So how do you connect those two things? How does a politician create abundance? There's only one way, and it's with paper money. Paper money gives the politicians the flexibility they need to carry huge debts for a long amount of time. The problem is, and inevitably, sooner or later, your creditors start wondering, what's this paper really worth? And the moment that happens, the whole house of cards can collapse. It's happened time and time again all around the world, and unfortunately, it's happening right now in America.
And, I try to explain this to your average yuppie, and I love the American people. I'm an American. It's not just Americans. Europeans are in somewhat of denial. We've had it so good so long, people can't believe that it could actually happen here. But studying Argentina or Mexico or Nigeria or Zimbabwe or Weimar Republic, Germany, perhaps, Porter, you should go through a few examples of that. I mean, we know what happens with accelerated currency devaluation. And then you add to that deindustrialization, an aging population. I mean, it's a perfect storm. Back in the Depression, 90% of people, right at 90, It was actually 89 point something, if you look at the historians' numbers, on average during that 10-year period, were agrarian, were somewhat self-sufficient. Now it's 89 or 90% are living in the city, don't know how to grow a tomato plant if their life depended on it. If we have a Great Depression triggered by this, we're talking about a road warrior type scenario in my view. Correct me if I'm wrong.